we discussed about the concept of posting period variant and everything, how it is dependency on the fiscal year variant. So the path is going to look like this. Okay, so first what we had to do, we had to create a variant first of all. Okay, we had to create a variant. That variant is going to be created at the company, at the client level, and it has to be assigned to the company code. So first we had to create a variant. So how to create a variant for a posting period variant? Same path, SPRO, IMG is a financial accounting for global settings. We need to come to the ledgers, and in the ledgers, here we have called as fiscal year and the posting periods. Come here, and in the bottom you can see here posting periods. So first we need to define the variants for the open posting period actually. So one variant can be assigned to multiple company codes. Very, very important concept here. I'm explaining. One variant can be assigned to multiple company codes, or for every company code, for individual company code, we can create a separate posting period variant. So in real time, when we are working in a real time, the normal practice here is going to be for every company code, we'll create a separate variant actually. So one variant cannot work for all the company codes, but in SAP we can assign it, but it cannot work in the real time when you go for, because some company's requirement will be something different from other company code. So if we open and close the posting periods in the same variant, it is going to be affecting to all the company codes. So it doesn't mean that there is no logic in that. So what we'll do in the real time, the number of company codes we have created and the number of posting periods we have created, it has to be assigned to the parallel to the company code. That's what we do in the real time. So how to create a variant? Now first we need to create a variant here. So go for the new entry. Go for the new entry. The variant, the posting is a posting period variant actually. It has to be given with any 4 alphanumerical character code. Any 4 alphanumerical character code. So for easy for understanding, my company code is 1710. So what I will do here, so for easy for remembering, I'll give the 17pp. 17pp. So I'll write here open posting period for 1710. So when I see the text, okay, I can come to understand, okay, this is the posting period variant, what I need to assign to my company code. Now I can save it. Okay, now I'm saving. I created a variant, but I have not created any posting periods over here. Just I created a variant, it is called as 17pp. Now what I need to do, before you assign it to the company code, so you come to open and close posting periods. Just select here, just execute it. Now, in which open posting period you want to create all these parameters. So just now we have created 17pp. In this 17pp, I just want to maintain everything. Give the open posting period variant and press enter. So initially the fields are going to be empty for you. So nothing, because this is a new variant you are creating now. This is a new variant we are creating now. Okay, now go for the document entry. That is called as a new entry. Now here it has come as editable mode. Now here you need to give the account type. As I told you that these are the account types which are available in SAP. So you can give it any account type for your practice. Okay, so plus I'll give something. Okay, so period 1, 2020. First period is open, 2020. So authorization groups not required. Just leave the field as an empty. So any special periods for you want. Okay, so let it be as a 2020, 16, 2020. And these are my controlling posting periods actually. Controlling posting periods. So these are the FI. These what, okay, the from period and the to period of the period 1 is related to FI, and the period 2 is related to the special periods, and period 3 is related to controlling. So controlling also I'm opening. So 1, 2020, 1, 2020 exactly. So these are the FI periods. 1 to 1 is nothing but FI periods, and 1 to 1 is nothing but controlling for the cost accounting. Okay, so this is okay. This is my parameter. Now I can save it now. So, and this I maintained. So you can also give A, D, P, okay, A, D, A, K, M, okay, yes, you can also give parallelly other if you require anything. But plus is nothing but which is valid for all account types. Okay, so if you want any control of S or D or K, you can give it over here. Now save it. Once the data has been saved, once you populated the data into this variant, now this variant contains the data of open posting period. Okay. Now, how do I know that this company code will be belongs to this particular variant? Now I need to give the relationship now. I had to provide the relationship between this variant and the company code. Where you're providing the relationship, then I need to go and assign. So here, assign the variants to the company code.
Hey Mahesh.
Yes, madam.
What is that 17 pp? Can you give a quick recap? Sorry, I joined in, a little
17
late.
pp is the variant name. Just now we have created it. We have, okay, so for example, if you go to the fiscal year variant, already we have some defined variants are there. For K4, we are using for Jan to December, V3 for April to March. We have some defined variants, so directly we are assigning the variant to the company code. But in the posting period variant, what we have to do first, you have to create a variant first of all. So I have given the variant name as a 17 pp, and I have given the name here. The 17 pp is nothing but this is the open posting period was 1710 company code actually. So first I need to give the variant name. So after you give the variant should be any 4 alphanumerical character code. Any 4 alphanumerical character code you can take it. So after you created the variant, now, this variant is empty. Now you need to populate the data into the variant. So what I had done here, I come to open and close posting periods and take the same variant you have created. That is 17 pp you have created just now. Give the same variant and just go for the new entry and maintain the data over here in this variant. Now, once you have defined the variant and once you have populated this data into this variant, now this variant has to be assigned to company code. Without assignment, actually, there is no value for this variant. So I need to give the relationship between this variant and the company code. Now, what I will do here, I'll go back and here we have a concept called as assign variants to the company code now. Assign variants to company code. Now here, there is no new entry option. Why? Because already you have 40 company codes are there in this client, 40 company codes are there in this client. So as I told you just now, one variant can be assigned to multiple company codes or a company code can have a different variant also. So that you have to create 40 posting period variants and each and every company code should be assigned to that variant actually. So in our case, what I'm going to do, I'm assigning the variant. So I'll remove this. Okay. So I'm assigning the variant to my company code, which is called as the 1710. So what is the variant you have created? And just okay, if you remember, you can type it over here, 17 pp. You can type it over here. Okay, it is available. But if you don't remember, just you can also go to the search help and you can find out that is 17 pp is nothing but your variant. So now I have given the relationship between this company code and this variant now. And this variant now. This is what exactly. Now, if I go back, if you see that my company code is 1710, to the same company code, I have assigned the K4. I have assigned the K4. For the same company code, I have assigned 17 pp as a variant. Now, what is happening? In this 17 pp as a variant, this is what exactly the relationship which I provided just now. So this is what exactly the relationship we have provided. So okay, K4 is nothing but Jan to December. K4 is nothing but which we can call it as a Jan to December. Now, in this variant, I have opened the period as a 1. 1 is 1 for 2020. 1 for 2020. This is the first period. So how do the SAP know this is the period 1 is for the January? Why? Because now for the same company code, I said the K4. In the K4, January is going to be the first period for me. If the K4, instead of K4, you assign the V3, then this first period will become as the April, not as a January. So the posting period variant, which you assign to the company code, will go and look which is the fiscal year variant you assign to the same company code. Then parallelly, it will become as a posting period variant as a January for the company code 1710. So that is what I had done here. Now, for the same company code, I have assigned this variant. This is what exactly the logic. This is what exactly the logic. Now, this is for the leading ledger. I've been told that there will be different ledgers will be there. There will be a one leading ledger. There will be a one leading ledger and you have a multiple non-leading ledgers. You have a multiple non-leading ledgers like we have a L1 and we have a L2. So these parameters you have set it to the leading ledger, that is for the OL. That is for the OL. That is for the OL, not for the non-leading ledger. So OL is nothing but we have assigned the fiscal year variant as a K4 and we have assigned the posting period variant as a 17 PP. But what happened to the non-leading ledger? Non-leading ledger, one non-leading ledger is going to be using V3, another non-leading ledger is going to be using, for example, it is going to be using V9, V6 or V9. So these variants, whatever the variant you have created here, whatever the variant you have created, this variant does not work. This variant does not work for the L1 and L2. I'll tell you the reason now. Why? Why? Means, very, very important concept it is. This variant you cannot assign here and you cannot assign here. I need to create a new variant for this L1 and I need to create a new variant for L2. Why? Because I'll tell you the reason. When you assign the variant of 17 PP to the company code, then it will go and look for the K4 and the become as a January as the first month, and this is going to be the first period for the company code for the LOL. But here, the first period is not a January here. The first period is going to be the April. The first period is going to be the April, and here the first period is going to be the July. Here it is going to be the April. Very, very important concept, April. Okay, now, according to me here, so I need to create a separate posting period variant where the April period should be open. I need to have a separate posting period variant where L2 should be open, V6 should be open for the month of July. So I go for a new entry, come to SPRO, IMG, and here we have a financial accounting and the financial accounting global settings, and we have a ledgers. So come to the ledgers, and here define settings for the ledgers and the currency type. Once again, I'm coming back to the original setting now. So first, go to the leading ledger. Go to the leading ledger and double click on company code. So here, if you see here, my company code is 1710. By default, I can see it is a K4. And here it is 1710. If I think I have not saved it. Okay, so just I created and I just need to save it. Okay, I saved it. Okay, now I'll go back. Just I need to refresh here. OL, double click on company codes. Now here, if I come to the 1710, just go just a little bit right side. Now here you can see by default, it has come as a 17 PP. See here. So the assignment has come and it is hitting to my leading ledger OL. Automatically, I never assigned any posting period variant or fiscal year variant to the ledger. Nothing. I have assigned the fiscal year variant and the posting period variant to the company code. Very, very important. The leading ledger is defaulted. The leading ledger is defaulted to all the company codes over here. Now, when I go to the non-leading ledger, for example, I'll select one non-leading ledger, which we call it as a 2L. 2L is nothing but my non-leading ledger. Example, I'm going to be taking 2L is nothing but my non-leading ledger. Now I double click on the company codes. Now in that company code, so the non-leading ledger has been assigned to the same company code. If you see the example here, all these three ledgers assigned to the same company code only. All these three ledgers assigned to the same company code only. These three ledgers have been assigned to the same company code only. Now, if you see here, the non-leading ledger 2L, which we are going to be talking as a non-leading ledger, it has been assigned to the same company code, but it is automatically getting inherited. Actually, you can see here. Now, K4 is not a fiscal year for me, and 1710 is not a posting period variant. I need to create a new variant. So what I have to do here, I'll come back and what I will do here, I'll change the fiscal year variant to the V3. Example, V3, and here, I already created a new variant for April to March. Okay, so new variant, I'll take a new variant. For example, I'm going to be taking any other one. Okay, so I'll take something. Okay, so which will be, okay, so I'll taking as a SH1. This is the variant I'm assigning this is the posting period variant and this is my fiscal year variant, which I'm assigning to my company code. That is, for example, you can take it as L1. For L2 also, what I'm going to do, I'm removing the K4 and replacing with the V6, and I'll assign a new variant where the July period should be open for the next variant. So that is what exactly I had to do here. Very, very important concept. Very, very important. For when you come to the leading ledger, the assignment and everything should be followed from this path. The assignment and everything should be followed from this path. When you come to the non-leading ledger, here you, okay, from the ledger concept point of view, you need to assign directly V3 and the posting period variant. So when we discussed about the leading and non-leading ledgers, I told that non-leading ledgers will inherit the same currency settings of the leading ledger, but there is a deviation is there in the posting period variant and the fiscal year variant. So that is what exactly. So when you take for the leading ledger, it is not a V3, it is a K4, but I'm changing to V3 for the non-leading ledger, which is going to be called as a 2. Is the concept is clear to all of you?
Actually, I'm confused. Why do we even need to have a posting period variant like different from 1710? Why can't we use just 1710 for all three?
Why can't we use
1710? Like why do we have to change it to 17 pp and stuff like that?
You can use it, madam. So what I'm telling here, if you listen my words very carefully in the starting of the class, I told that for the easy for remembering. So it will be very easy for you can assign 1710 also, doesn't matters. Why? Because when you are assigning the 1710 here, very, very important. When you are assigning the 1710, I'll tell you the reason here. What is going to be happen? When you have created, for example, I created a 17 pp as a variant. Now in this 17 pp, I have given it as a 1 and 1. Very, very important, madam. So it is for 2020. It is for 2020. Now, this has been assigned to my company code where I'm going to be calling it as the 1710. 17 pp has been assigned to my company code here. For the same company code, I already assigned my fiscal year variant also. For the same company code, I already assigned my fiscal year variant. The fiscal year variant is going to be the K4 here. So which period is open for me?
The fiscal year, right? Jan to December.
Jan to December is open. But here, when you come to the non-leading ledgers, which fiscal year I'm going to be assigning V3. Okay, you can as you told that, okay, so you can also give the same variant also. You can also give the same variant where I'm going to be taking as a 17 pp. 17 pp. So when I am assigning the 17 pp to the same fiscal year variant, that is going to be the V3. But here I have a confusion here. The 17 pp can be used for multiple ledgers also. So instead of avoiding the confusion, everything here, so I have an SAP possibility where I can create a new variant. Instead of maintaining everything, I can assign a new variant here. So that will be easy for me to remember. That's all.
Okay, thank you.
So this is what exactly the concept where we are going to be using the posting period variant proportionate to your fiscal year variant. This is very, very important concept actually. Everybody please make sure that you are in a track to understand all these things. Now, I'm not assigning anything here because already they have maintained, we have already maintained. So just I'm coming out. Okay. We have created so many ledgers. Okay, we have created as so many ledgers over here. Okay, now I have done with 3 ledgers. So now I containing about 3 ledgers, and every ledger will be assigning a new fiscal year variant, and every fiscal year variant have a new posting period variant like this. Okay, very good. Now, when I'm doing any posting in SAP, for example, expenses, rent expenses account debit to cash or bank account. Example. Okay, I'm taking one example. Cash or bank account. This is my accounting entry which I'm supposed to be posted in my SAP. Now, actually, when you're posting, you're not specifying the ledger here. You're never specifying any ledger while you're posting on any transaction. By default, it will be get posted to all the 3 ledgers. Very, very important. Very, 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 very important concept it is. I never specify any ledger while I'm posting any financial accounting entry. Ledger specific postings are different. I'll tell you what the reason for this. When I'm posting any transaction, Okay, any general accounting transaction, the transaction which I'm going to be using called as, okay, from here, from the SAP easy axis, you need to come to the accounting, financial accounting, general ledger, document entry. And here we have called as F-02, which is called as a general posting. In this general F-02, nowhere I see that there is a ledger, nothing. See document date, posting date, header, blah, 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 but there is no field called as a ledger. So when I posted any documents, okay, now I'll go and see the posted documents. So after posting the documents, if you want to see the display, I had to use the transaction code called as FB03 to display the documents, FB03. I'm coming to the FB03 and I come to the documents which I posted in 2020. Okay. So no, just not a practical, just I'm making you to understand. Now, when I want to see any document list here, now it is asking by default, the ledger which is going to be taking as the OL, and another field is called as a ledger group is also there. There are two fields are there. When I want to see the display of the documents, one is the ledger, another one is the company code. Here, for which company code I'm displaying the documents, I'm displaying the documents for 1710 for 2020. I want to see all the documents related to the general, not for the vendors and customers, related to the general. So I need to give the document type SC. I'll tell you what is the document type SC. Now, if you see here, there is only one document is there that has posted on 01/01/2020. Now, when I double click on it, this is the document actually I posted. So electricity and utilities bills are going to be debited with $100 and petty cash account has been created with $100. Very good. Now, this document has got posted to 1710. Now, I want to see what are all the ledgers have got affected. Okay, now, if I want to see the ledgers, just you have to come from the entry view to the general ledger view. Just click on the general ledger view. Now here you can see the ledger. It has got posted to the OL. Not only to the OL, it has also got posted to other ledgers also, which you are assigned to the company code. These are all the ledgers you are assigned to the company code. These are all the ledgers you have assigned to the same company code, which we call it the 1710. So by default, I'm telling, by default, if you're posting any transactions in SAP, not only the leading ledger, other ledgers you have assigned to the company codes are also getting posted. Very, very important. But when you come to the 2L, here, my 2L I am using for different accounting standards for the local GAAP. Whereas by OL I am using for the IFRS reporting. 2L is nothing but April to March. And there are another ledgers are also there for here. So what I mean to say here is any transaction you're posting in SAP, will be get posted to all the ledgers you have assigned to the company code, which is going to be calling it at 1710. Very, 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 very important. Now, concept here. Here, let me take, there are three ledgers are there. These three ledgers I have assigned to the company code 1710. So Mahesh, you are telling that if I am posting this transaction, all these three ledgers are getting defaulted. Yes, very good. Yes. OL will be posted for IFRS reporting, L1 will be posted for the local GAAP, and L2 will be posted for other reporting system. All the three ledgers will be get posted. Now, Mahesh, tell me one thing now. Can I post any transaction in SAP? There are some peculiar transactions are there, specific transactions are there. Those transactions should be limited only for L1. Some transactions has to be limited to L2 only. Can I do that? Yes. So what I have to do here, I need to create a ledger group. I need to create a ledger group. The ledger group is a concept where you can maintain the specific ledgers in the ledger group. So what I'm going to do, I'm creating one ledger group. The ledger group name, I'm going to be giving it as a LO, ledger group, or LJ, something like ledger group. This is my ledger group name. This is my ledger group name. In this ledger group, I am assigning two ledgers. One is OL, another one is L1. Okay, this ledger group. Mahesh, can you create one more ledger group also? Okay, right. I'll create a one more ledger group. The name I'm giving as a GL example, just reversing it. Okay, this is another ledger group. In this ledger, you do one thing, assign OL and L2. Okay, very good. There are two ledger groups I created now. One ledger group, and this is the second ledger group. Okay. So one ledger group contains two ledgers, that is the LG. Another ledger group also contains two ledgers, that is going to be the GL. Now, if you want a ledger group specific posting, where if I post to the LG, only these two ledgers has to be affected. If I post to GL, only these two ledgers has to be get affected. Now, what I'll do here, I'll go back. Just come back, one step back. Here, there is a concept called as a defined ledger group. Go for a new entry. And one more important thing. Okay, if you are creating any new ledger, for example, I'm going for a new accounting. I'm creating a ledger which is called as a L1, non-leading ledger for DE, that is for the Germany, for IFRS, okay, or for the local GAAP. I'm creating a new ledger which is called as the L1. See here, very, very important, my dear friends, very, very important here. Now, what I'm going to do here, I am saving it. L1 is already there. So I'll create just like a L9 or something like I'll create a L8. See, L8 I created. I'm creating a new ledger, L8. Now I'm saving. So I'm saving the data. So automatically you can see there is a one pop-up is coming, default pop-up box is coming. So what it is telling that information, ledger group L8 is created only with the ledger L8. Means whenever you're creating any new ledger in SAP, non-leading ledgers or extension ledgers or any new ledger you're creating in SAP, by default in the backend, a ledger group will be created with only one ledger, that is with L8 only. Very, very important topic this is. Whenever, again, I'm repeating the sentence here. Whenever you're creating any new ledger in SAP, by default, a ledger group will be created for the particular ledger with one ledger only, not multiple. So ledger group L8 is created with the ledger L8. Okay, so now with the same name, now I'll create a one more ledger, L9. This is for the non-leading ledger for IN, for INDAS, INDAS, INDAS. Okay, right. Another ledger I'm creating. Save. Same pop-up. Ledger group L9 is created for L9 with the ledger L9. Okay, two ledgers are created now. So what I'll do here, select L8. Okay, now go back. Now come to the ledger group. Now here you can see the two ledgers. One is L1, L8. See here, automatically ledger groups are created, L8 and L9. See here. I'm coming to the ledger group. If I select the L8 and double click on ledger assignment, how many ledgers are there? Only one ledger will be there. You can see here. Only one ledger is there, which is called as a representative ledger. What is representative ledger? I'll explain now. Now again, go back, select L9, double click on ledger, only L9. So by default, ledger group has created. But Mahesh, this ledger group only contains with only one ledger. But can you create a one more new ledger group where it contains both L1, OL and L8 and OL and L9? So what I will do here, I had to go to the new entry. So first I'm creating one ledger group, LG. Ledger group for 1710. Example I'm going to be taking. Okay. Now select your ledger. I'm creating first ledger now. Select your ledger and double click on ledger assignment. Double click on ledger assignment. Now I'm creating a new ledger group. By default, I can see there will be no ledgers are there. Now I had to go to the new entry. And how many ledgers you want to assign? Only two ledgers, Mahesh. Okay, one is OL. Another one should be LH. Very good. But now tell me which ledger is going to be your representative ledger. Not both the ledgers cannot be selected as a representative ledger. Any one of your ledgers should be selected as a representative ledger. Either it can be the OL or whether it can be the LH. Now I need to understand what is a representative ledger. What do you mean by a representative ledger? Why should I select a representative ledger? Either it's for the OL or LH. So now what you're doing here, so whenever any specific documents are supposed to be posted, I need to use LJ. Why? Because I just given an example that it should not be impacted to all the ledgers. Some transactions are there. Some transactions should be impacted to OL and L1. Some transactions should be impacted to OL and L2 with separate ledger group. So to posting any transactions in the ledger group. So if I come here, it is having the ledger and the ledger group also. Now what I will do here, any specific transactions you want to post to a particular ledger group, SAP has given a separate transaction code. That is what exactly we call it as FB01L. FB01L stands for ledger group specific posting. Now, if I come to this transaction, if I give the posting date as a 22/1/2020, this is my posting date actually. This is my posting date. So I've given the company code. But here the ledger group, what I'm going to do here, ledger group, I'm specifying this ledger group, that is LG. Here I'm giving the LG. So here very, very important concept it is. So when I'm posting these electricity expenses account to petty cash account. So when I given this ledger group, only two ledgers are getting posted. L9 will not be get posted because in this ledger group there are only two ledgers. These only two ledgers will be get impacted, not L9. Very, very important. But I selected the OL as a representative ledger. What do you mean by OL as a representative ledger? The system will go and check. Very, very important concept. It is very, very important concept. When you have selected the OL as a representative ledger in this particular ledger group, the system will go and check the posting date here. The posting date I have given it as a 22/01/2020. Means what does it mean that I am posting the period is going to be the first period. First period, January, na? 22/01/2020 will come under the period of January. The system will go and check. Very, very important. The system will go and check now. It will come to the posting period variant. Very, very important. And now it will come to the 1710. 1710. Now you are given it as a 17 pp. 17 pp. Now the system will go to the 1710 pp. 17 pp. It will check now. It will check whether the period 1 is open or closed. In this case, the period 1 is closed for the 1 is open for the period of 2020, for the fiscal year 2020. Yes. For ledger OL, I'm talking. Yes, because you have selected it as a representative ledger. Because you have selected it as a representative ledger, now the system will come and check whether this period 1, whatever the period you have given here, whether this period is open or closed. If the period is open, then it will post. Why? Because OL, you have selected it as a representative ledger. Very, very important. OL, you have selected it as a representative ledger. Means the system will go and check whether the period is open or not for the posting of the transaction, whether the period 1 is open or not. If the 1 is open, then the system will post a transaction. If the 1 is closed, understand that. Okay, here it is 2. Here it is 2. But I'm trying to post the transaction for the period 1. Then in the OL, the representative ledger will go and check whether the period 1 is open or closed. But here the period 1 is not open. The period 2 is open. Period 1 is closed. Then the system will stop to post the transaction. Very, very important. So, one minute, I'm coming. Okay, 1 and 1. Now, when you come to the L8, you're not selected it as a representative ledger. You're not selected it as a representative ledger. Okay, I'll come to the L8 now. 1 second, I'm coming to all the points. Okay, one by one I'll come. Okay. I'll come to LH. I have assigned it to my company code 1710. 1710. Okay, same company code. But here it is April to March. It is April to March, and I have given a separate posting period variant here. April to March. I have given a separate posting period variant. Very, very important. Very, very important concept. This is my non-leading ledger, not a leading ledger. This is my non-leading ledger. But my non-leading ledger, just now I told that there is a deviation is there in the fiscal year variant and the posting period. Non-leading ledger L8 I'm using for April to March. Now, when the non-leading ledger L8 is represented as a non-leading ledger in this ledger group, I am not selected L as a representative ledger, then the system will not go and check. No, nothing. The system will not go and check here whether the period is open or closed for L8 because it is a non-representative ledger in the ledger group L1. The system will never go and check whether for this particular posting period variant SH1, whether you are taking as April to March, whether the April period is open. April is the first period, definitely. Why? Because I'm posting to the transaction for the month of January. So for the April, for the V3, it will become as April. For the K4, it will become as a January. The system will never check. The system will never check whether in the L8 the period is open or not. This transaction for this particular transaction, the system will never check whether the period is open or not. Where is that? The period is open or not. So that is the reason you can have multiple ledger groups. You can have multiple ledger groups, but make sure that in that ledger group, one of the ledgers should be made it as a representative. Either it can be the L8 or OL. But in SAP S4HANA, from 1809 onwards, there will be several versions of 1511, 1610, 1709, 1809. Now today we are working with 1909. Now in SAP S4HANA, what SAP is telling that they have come out with a new enhancement in SAP S4HANA. So when you follow the transaction called as SPRO, IMG, financial accounting, global settings, you have to come here. Global parameters for the company codes. Global parameters for the company code. Here there is a called as enter global parameters. Enter global parameters. Now what is the company code you're looking? 1710, because the postings are happening to the 1710. So I'll select the 1710 and go to the details option here. Go to the details. Now, in this 1710, now, if we come down, there is an option called as manage posting periods also there. Very, very important concept. Manage posting period. If you don't select this checkbox, then this logic work will as it is. Then this logic will work. So the representative ledger OL will be checked and the representative non-representative ledger L1 will not be checked. Even if it is closed or open, the system will post. Now, if you are selecting this checkbox, managing posting periods, then the system will also go and check for the non-leading ledgers in the ledger group, whether for LG, for LEH, here, so here I'm going to be removing that. So I'm just giving it as 8 only, okay? So for LEH, okay, here I'm putting as LEH. So if I select the checkbox, here, if I select the checkbox, then the system, even if it is a non-representative ledger in the ledger group, only OL is a representative ledger, whereas your L8 is non-representative ledger, then even though also system will go and check, because L8 is the ledger we are using from April to March. April to March, which has been assigned to the same company code 1710. The system will go and check whether the period 1 is open or not for this particular thing also. F1 is nothing but April for me, because you are assigning a new variant to the company code. So if you select the checkbox, then the system will also go and check whether the not representative ledger, the period is open or not. If you doesn't select the checkbox, then the logic, what I told, the logic is going to be, the system will never go and check for L8. Even if it is closed or open, the system will post the document to L8 also parallelly with OL. Clear, all of you?
Question.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you're posting to period 1, and the date of the transaction is January.
Exactly.
But L8 has period 1 is April. So
correct.
What happens? What, the transaction is posted to April for ledger L8?
Okay, now I'll show an example now. See here. So what is happening to L8? Okay, then in the L8, when you come to the L8, if I go and see the documents, okay, so if I specify any document, so now normally what you are going to specify, normally you are specifying the ledger group as a LG, and you are given the posting date as a 22/1/2020, and the posting period you are given it as a 1. After the posting of the document, when I see the display of the document, now I'm coming and see the displaying of the document. /NAB03. Otherwise what I'll do, 1 second. I'll do one thing, okay? 1 second. I'll save it. Ledger L8 is not available, whatever. One second, sir. Okay, okay. Now, 2020. Now this is the document I posted. Assume that this is the document I posted. Very, very important here. Very, 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 very important. This is the document I posted. Now, when I go and see the document at the ledger specific level, for OL, the date will be 01/01/2020. It will be for OL. I'm talking. But when I'm changing the ledger to L8, for example, let us assume that this is L8. When I'm changing the ledger to L8, the date here it will be 01/04/2020. It will be there. Clear? For L8, it will be 01/04. Why? Because you are taking from April to March for the L8, not from Jan to December. So the posting date will be 01/08/2020. Yeah.
So do you have to also keep like the non-leading ledger open?
So even if you are maintaining the ledger group for the non-leading ledger, so if you are making the non-leading ledger as a representative ledger, very, very important point. If you are making the non-leading ledger as a representative ledger, then the period of non-leading ledger period should be open. Very, very important. That is what exactly I'm telling. Now, what it is telling, that SAP is telling me that when you are using leading ledger and in that there is a non-leading ledger is there. If you are making the non-leading ledger representative ledger, if you are not making the leading ledger representative ledger, then there is no use of posting. So that is the reason SAP has came out with a new option called as manage posting period. In this manage posting period, what does SAP is telling me here is, if you set this indicator, the posting period check is also made for the non-representative ledgers here. You can see here. If you select this, if you select this indicator, the posting period check is also made for the non-representative ledger in the ledger group. Means if you select the checkbox, then 100%, even though 100%, if you're not selecting, then even the period is not open, the system will fail to post the transaction because you have selected the checkbox. That's the reason. Yeah. Anyone has any doubts? Excuse me. Hello.
Mahesh?
Yes, yes.
Then that checkbox is not done, then it will come and see here whether it is open or not. If it is open, then only it will add the entry for it. If it is not, it will not.
No, you're reversing, sir. If the checkbox is there, if you have selected the checkbox, then it will come and see whether this period is open for the L8 or not. If you have deselected the checkbox, then either it is open or whether it is closed. It doesn't mean that for the non-representative ledgers.
Okay, it will not post at all.
No.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Mahesh, for the that you presented a while ago, that is January 1st.
Okay.
And then posting that to April 1st because of the different period one. What happened if the document date is January 31st, and then let's say April or March doesn't have the 31st? Would that be an error for the posting?
Okay, in that case, okay, so when we are selecting it as, so it will be taken as the last date of the month. If it is the last date of the month in non-representative ledger is 31st, it will post to 31st. If it is not 31st, it will post to 30th.
Thank you.
Anybody has any doubts? This is the concept of ledger group. So the concept of ledger group is very, very important when we are going to be discussing. That's what exactly. So any specific postings you want to make to that, any specific postings you are making to the ledger group, make sure that any specific postings you are making to the ledger group, make sure that you are using a different transaction code. Don't confuse over here. You are using a different transaction code. The transaction code will be FB01L only for the ledger group specific posting. If you have to come to the FB01L, the L stands for ledger group actually. So you have to use the transaction code for posting of the transaction. If it is a normal, hey Mahesh, let it be impacted to all the ledgers, not for any ledger specific posting. Then you have to use the normal, for any general ledger posting, you have to use the F-02 or you can use FB50 also.
So if it's a general entry, it gets posted in all the ledgers.
Definitely it has to be posted in all the ledgers. Now I've shown the example also now. So where you can have, where you can see or the posting to all the ledgers. So whichever the company codes, all the ledgers will be get affected over here. Any doubts? I'll give a small example here. Now, let us take an example like this. I'm in US. I'm working in US. Okay, my company code is 1710. My local currency here, it is going to be the USD. I travel to India. But in India, there is a separate company code is there. There is a separate company code is there. But I travel to India as a deputation purpose. I am traveling to India for a deputation purpose. Okay. This is India. I'm just giving one example. Now, when I stay here in US, my salaries are paid in USD only. My salaries are going to be paid in USD as in a local currency. But 6 month deputation, I travel to India. In India, we are following a different calendar year. That is nothing but different fiscal year. We are going to be using as a V3. But here in US, we are using a K4. In US, we are using a K4. If any salaries are going to be made, very, very important here. Very, 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 very important. Here, when I come to here, it is a Jan to December. I'll put it here like this. Very, please, just Jan to December. Here it is going to be from April to March. Here it is going to be the April to March. Now we have opened here. Here we have opened the fiscal year as the 2020. But still, if we come to the India, still we are running with 2019 only. If you see here, still we are running with 2019 because January, February and March will come from the 2019 fiscal year. Because it is the V3, April to March I am following. It is not a Jan to December. Now, when Mahesh has traveled from US to India, the salaries will be paid in USD dollars only. Because here I'm creating it as the leading ledger, that is the OL. And here I'm creating a one more ledger, which is going to be calling it as the L1. I'm creating a non-leading ledger. Because for the local reporting, for INDAS, INDAS reporting, here this L1 I'm using for the IFRS. L1 I am using for the IFRS. I'm creating a one more ledger, and this ledger is assigned to the same company code 1710. Now, when I'm making a salaries for Mahesh, I'll be posting the same currency only, USD, because I told that non-leading ledgers will not have a different currency. Non-leading ledger will inherit the same currency settings of the leading ledger. So when I'm making a salaries here in India, salaries account debit to cash or bank account credit. The salaries are getting posted in USD, not in INR. So now once the document has got posted, very, very important. Now the document has posted. I created a document number so-and-so, document number 100 was created. Example, 100 was created. When I open this document, I see the document has got posted to OL and the document has also got posted to L1 also. Very, very important. When it comes to the L1, or OL, very, very important. Here, the January is going to be at the first period, but for me, the January will be 10th period for me. But here it is going to be the first period for you. Very, very important here. For me, it is the 10th period. For you, it is the 01 first period. Very, very important concept it is. So, because till my fiscal year is not at end for 2019, my fiscal year will end in the month of March, not in the January. So for me, it is the 10th period in India, and for US company, that is for the K4 calendar year where you are going to be using, for it is going to be the 01 period. Now I need to have the local reporting. So for this first 3 periods, I will take it as the L1. Very, very important for the INDAS, and the remaining OL will be considered for the K4 over here. Now this is the logic what I'm going to be using. Why? Because if the L1 is using the same OL, 01 means it is not an April. It will be as, it will be not as a January, it will be an April. Very, very important concept. If OL is a January, if L1 is going to be the same 01, then it will be April. For me, it is the April. For you, it is the January. For January, then there is no coincidence. There is no coincidence over here. Nothing. Then what is the use of using the non-leading ledger then? Nothing. There is no use of using the non-leading ledger. So that is the reason. For me, it will be at the 10th period because it is the January. Then the logic will work here now. See here. This is how the concept of non-leading ledgers are going to be used. Clear? Clear to all of you?
Yes, I think this example was really helpful. Thank you.
So that is the reason I'm creating the ledger group OL and L1. So it may have the different fiscal year variant and the posting period variant, but the currency is going to be the same only, because I'm posting the transactions in USD, and here also the concept of transactions are going to be the USD. No, I'm not posting in INR. I'm not posting in Indian rupees. I'm posting in the same USD one. Don't ignore the STP, please. If you are not done the practice for next 2 days, if you start doing the practice of the next 3 days, something like after the 2 days, it will be fresh for you, I'm telling. So every day the practice has to be done. Minimum 1 hour you have to do the practice on the system. Giving the explanation from my side, I'll clarify all your doubts. But what I need a small help from you that okay, I understand that, okay, we all are very busy in our complete daytime, okay, from 24/7 we are roaming here and there, we are spending the life, okay, so what I understand that. But take 1 hour of your time for the practice. It will be really helpful, I'm telling.
So Manish, if we have any questions like from the very beginning of the sessions, can we still ask you?
Definitely. If the entire session will be on the doubts also, I'm always welcome for you.
Okay. So in case if I have, where do I post it? Because, I don't know.
No, see, madam, actually, see what is happening here. So I'll tell you one example. Okay. So when you are coming out with the doubts, or if the discussion board is there, you can post the discussion board. So normally what is happening when I'm looking very busy in my office, so sometimes I will never concentrate on the discussion board for 2 to 3 days. Okay. So if that is the case, you can come in, okay, when you're joining in the next class, you can ask the same doubt so that I can clarify, and then I can continue with the regular class like that.
Okay.
Okay, so do the practice till here. Okay.